In this video, we're going to focus on how we can add up text around and inside a donut chart. These all are calculated and connected to the items in here. So let's start look how to do this. So to do this, what we have to do first is get a border template, which you can find here on chartjs3.com getting started. Once you're on here, copy this chunk of code and you're good to go. Next, if you want to have the source code of this video and many others, check out my Patreon page, and of course, got a question, put it on Discord. So let's start to convert this first into a donut chart. And of course that needs to be donut. Remove the scales, save, and then in this case we will have 1 and 2, will delete all others. Alright. And one was done, other is to do. Then delete everything else, save, refresh. Alright, that works, but let's reduce the size of it. Let's make this 500 pixels. There we are. Remove the legend. Let's make this cutout percentage smaller or higher, so it will cut out a bigger chunk of the donut chart. Cut out 90%. Save. There we are. Legend. Plugins. Legend. Display false. Save. Refresh. There we are. Let's put in some space between everywhere. So some padding. So say layout. Sorry. Padding 100 pixels. Save. There we are. So now we have enough space to play around here. So what we're going to do here now is create our new custom plugin, and I'll give this name. We could give this text around donut. And probably not even around, also inside of it, but you get the point. We'll be doing a lot of things. So we're going to put in this. So say here before datasets draw or after, doesn't matter. Datasets draw, and then we say here chart, arcs, and plugin options. When we did that, constant. This is the object destructuring of chart.js, and then what we're going to say here. What do I need? I need the CTX and probably the data. All right. So what I want to do now is, well, let's break it down. We want some text on top, text here below, text in the center like a number, and then text underneath, and then of course on this side, on the right side, and on the left side, additional text. So let's do the very top first, because those are the easiest one. So what I'm going to say here is ctx.save. Then I'm going to say ctx dot font style or font, and I'm going to say here for this text on the title, you can do maybe 30 pixels, make it bold, 30 pixels, sans serif. There we are. Then I'm going to say ctx dot fill style, give it a nice color, make this black. And then we say ctx dot, and then we can say here the fill text. Fill text will have the text itself. Oh, sorry, text, and then we have here the x and the y coordinates. So what is the text? We can just say objective or something. That was the question related to. And then the x and y coordinates will be quite straightforward in this case. Let's ignore that one. All right. So I want it here up. That is basically the center of our x coordinate here. And then for that I need to get the item. And then this one here could be 0, because that's the vertical level. 0. And here down is whatever the lowest point is, or highest value here is. If it is 500, if I'm not mistaken. So 0 to 500. So I want to be in the 0 point here on the y. For the x, I want to calculate automatically by figuring out what is the center here. So I'm going to use a nice item or a nice piece of code that we can use. So I say x center, I'm going to say chart.getData set meta dot data, and then we say dot x. That's basically x coordinate, and then same goes for the y coordinates. I've covered this many times in other videos. Just do a console log if you don't understand what I'm doing here, so you can read this data. And basically I just want this one here, and that's save, refresh. Alright, so you can see it's a bit off. Let's push it down by saying if this is 30 pixels, we can move the font or the text by 30 pixels. Save. There we are. Let's text align it in the center. ctx.text align, and that will be the center. Save, refresh. Alright, that's perfect. Next item here, just below here, what we're going to do is it's going to copy the logic here. Put that in there. Then this one will be 20 maybe, or 18. I guess 18 is fine. And then no bold, make it gray. Center, and then this would be, alright, so here we have a bit of a tricky item. We want to have the text plus a number. So if we're going to put it in here and I want to have the value, for example, I want to calculate what is the sum of this. So I need to get that sum reduce method as well. So basically what I want to see here is, what is it here? Total, and I say 3 or whatever. So that should be the item, and this will be not plus that. I can maybe say plus 60, or that one, well, let's see. I think that's more than enough. So this looks quite good, but now we need to have this number soft coded here. This soft coded value we can just put in here, constant. We'll say sum, and the sum value will be, and this is the reason why I have the data prepared in advance. So what I'm going to say here, sum is data.data sets index 0 dot data, and dot reduce method. And basically what I want to do here is we have a accumulator, and this accumulator is basically just a value that I give it a name with the current value. And what it will do is basically whatever the current value is, in this case it would be 1, will be start with 0. Well, let's define 0, of course. So what I need to do here is the accumulator plus current value, and we start with 0. So it's 0, and then the accumulator, so that will be accumulator and 0 plus current value, which would be 1. So that means 1 from now on, plus the current value would be 1 plus 2, that's 3. And that's basically what it does. Alright, so we have this logic here, semicolon here, and we're going to put it maybe in here. We can say here S, and then make sure you have template literals, but I think we can, if I want to give this a nicer color or something else or bold, I need to change the text item. So let's start to do that as well. So how would we do this? Going to copy a few things here. Well, let's copy just everything, and then this save can be removed. One save is enough in this case because we don't do a translate yet. So what I'm going to do here, remove this. So we have all of this here, but I want it bold now. Keep this all same. So what's going on here is the following. I have this text here. I can just remove the template literals, put in here this text, the sum. Of course, now we are it's a bit tricky because we need to move a bit more away from the X center. Maybe say plus 20. Let's save that. Refresh. And as you can see here, this one is here as well, if I'm not mistaken, sum. There, let's remove this. And then let's keep it like this. As a string value, no need for template literals in that case. So this is quite acceptable, but I said maybe if you do 30 here, that will be fine. But what we could do as well is maybe calculate what is the length of this text here. So what I'm going to say here, constant text width equals, and I would say here ctx.measure the text that we want to use, or basically this here, the total, say here dot width. By this, we get the exact pixel value, and we can just say plus this. But of course, we still need to fine tune a little bit here. As you can see, this is not really correct, and the main reason is it is now not considering that this needs to be together in this area here. Anyway, what I will do is I'll say we put this on the left side. Alright, so it's a bit further, but from now on, if there would be more, so you can imagine if I add more text, it will always move to the left side instead of going deeper to the right, so it will not overlap. That's number one. Then I can say here, let's text width, well, basically it's the center, so probably a text width divided by 2. Let's see if that would be enough. Let's see if that will do the trick. There you are, that does the trick, and I think that is beautiful, and now we're done. We're good to go. Alright, next part is the text in the very center down. So to get the text in the center down, it will be easy as well, because we need just a few things here. The first thing what I need here is, let's see, oh well, in this case, not that easy I guess, we're going to use the CTX translate. So the CTX translate. And then CTX translate, we're going to say here now, what this really does is reposition the 0 point. Right now the 0 point is here. However, I want to put the 0 point here. So what I'm going to say, for the 0, it is, alright, let's close that one, I just have to check later on. And then we say here, Y center. Alright, so that will be the center point, the new center point. This translate must need a save here, and later on we need to restore right away. If you don't do that, you might get, well, you will get issues, and you get these weird effects. So just be aware of that. So everything between here is important. Alright, so what I'm going to do here now is we're going to put in big text. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy all of this, put in here, this, let's make this 60 pixels, sans serif, gray, center, and then here I'll just say very simple 0, 0, because 0 right now is the exact center. I guess here what we could do here is the following: ctx text baseline, and then we say here middle to push it more in the center. But I don't want this, I want it up. So what I'm going to say here, this could be bottom, and that sounds very weird, but bottom pushes it up and the other one pushes it down. If it's top, pushes it down. Anyway, doesn't matter, just follow along. That's the code as it is. Probably there's some deeper logic in it, but for now just don't get confused with this. So now we have this sum here. What I would like to do with the sum here is I didn't want to calculate how many is complete. So if weekly sales is 1 and the other one is 2, so that means we have a 33%. So what I would like to do here is I want to get the value. I guess we can just put it here down. So let's see. So what I need is basically the number. Alright, so what is the number? Well, basically it's constant. Let's call it percentage equals data sets index 0 data index 0, because that is the one that is done. So I'm going to get a percentage of the done items, which is number 1, divide by sum, and then I'm going to say here multiply by 100. Alright, so we make sure that, although I think it will automatically prioritize this by default, but just let's make sure. Save. Sorry. Alright, you can see here what we need to do here is to reduce the item. So we say dot to fixed. Save, and then maybe 1 digit. There we are. Percentage we're going to put in here. So I'm going to say backtick template literals. Make sure we have a dollar sign here and there. And then we say here percentage as well. Save, refresh. There we are. Alright, and then we can say here down completed or something like that. That was related to that question. So I'm going to maintain it be above the restore because I still want to use these coordinates here. So then here I'm going to use just the top trick. And we just say here completed. This is just a string value, so completed. And then this one maybe here 30 or something like that. Completed. Beautiful. Alright, you can push it down more if you want to push it down. Say here plus 10. So you have some space additional. Now, next, final two items is focus here on the right side first. So now what we want to do first is have the number here, and then below we're going to put in incomplete, and the other side will be a number with complete. So how we're going to do this is we need to calculate from this point, right, drawing in a line, basically imaginary line, to create the angle. Luckily it's quite simple since we only have two items here. We know this circle here is 360, so like 120 degrees like that, 120 degrees like this. However, and this, don't get confused, it's very important, the 120 degrees is a bit tricky because we need from this point is considered 0, and then this is 90, etc, etc. So if I want to get the 120 degrees here, it is 0 plus 30 degrees. So just understand that part there, and from there on you can just easily calculate everything else. So what I'm going to do here now, let's do here right text first. So the right text, what we would get, we're going to use first one thing that we really need is the constant angle. Say here math.pi divided by 180, so we can easily calculate how many degrees of an angle we want. In this case we need 30 because it's already 90 by default. So what I'm going to do here now is the following. I'm going to say here, alright, I need as well the outer radius, which is this outer line here. I will get this as well from, just borrow these things all from chart.js. Chart.js has all these functions in there. So I'm going to say outer radius, and which is going to say here chart dataset blah blah blah. Alright, got that all. Dot outer radius. Alright, so once we have this, the next thing what I want to do now is start to calculate the x and y position. And the x and y position, we'll be using a formula of cosinus and sinus. So we're going to say here x right, and then that will be based on math.cos, cosinus, alright, and then this here we'll have the angle multiplied by the angle degree that we want. In this case it is 30. Once we did this, I want to say here multiply by the outer radius. Now we have our coordinate. Let's do the one for the right side of the y value as well. So here we're going to say y right, and then this one is just the same but not cosinus. I want to have sinus here. Everything else maintains. Then it becomes quite easy. You can just grab all the stuff here. I'll just copy all of this, put it in here. And what I'm going to do here is for the x and y, it's going to say here. And then here, this will be the number. And I guess in this case, this was incomplete. And an incomplete would have the data sets 0 dot data, and the data was 1 if I'm not mistaken. Let's go up here to do or incomplete number 2. There we are, index number 1. So that's the first one, and we can make this maybe red so it's easy to spot, and give this maybe a 40 pixel. Save, refresh. Alright, you can see here it's going nicely down, but I would like to push it out further. How do we do that? Remember the outer radius, that's basically the position here on this line. We can just say here the outer radius will be plus 30 pixels additional, and then we are moving it more and more down. Beautiful. So there we are. I think that is already good to go. Final one here. Oh, let's copy this. I'm going to do the same thing, but then here I'm going to say here this will be 20. This is just gray. And then we have here centered, I guess top base. I just don't touch that one. That's fine. Right side, x right is fine, but the y needs to go down. Let's say plus 30. Then I'm going to say here incomplete. Save, refresh. Alright, I feel that that could be probably 50. There we are, and now I think we can just grab the same logic and it will be very easy now. This left, alright, and then here, remember, this is 120, the other was also 120, But this is the 30 position, so 30 plus 120 is 150. Because we have a 360 here, and I'm just dividing it all. So 150, 150, everything else, we can just leave that. This change, Y here and there. Let's save that, refresh, incomplete. It should be completed. And this one has a 0. Let's save that. Oh, sorry. Save that, refresh. Alright, makes that green. Then we are good to go. Save, refresh. And there we are. Now we have everything. So now my question, what happened if I change this? Save, 3. There we are. Everything starts to nicely adjust. And that's it.